Assalamu alaikum, everyone. This is Mehzad Sahar, Group Head Information Security and Group Operation. It's really a privilege and honor to be a speaker in the first ever dedicated OT cybersecurity conference arranged by Asset Solution. We really highly appreciate the efforts put by Asset Solution to bring this conference in Pakistan. My topic today is the importance of OT cybersecurity at national level. So let me take you guys in the history. 1945, where the first ever nuclear war happened. A nuclear weapon was exercised to show that there is a new concept of nuclear power. Fortunately, as of today, Pakistan is also out of very few countries who are nuclear power. The problem with the nuclear war is whenever you exercise, then it creates a lot of disasters in the infrastructure, and whoever is going to take over the country, they'll have to invest a lot in the infrastructure. So that itself is a extra cost. So what happened, no matter this was done more than 80 years back, this type of innovation, the global powers, they realize that they need to think about some other type of power, which should actually create impact maybe more than nuclear exercise, but without creating an infrastructure disaster, doing something which can paralyze the whole country, and even remotely without putting your army there. So keeping in this mind, then now there is a new concept of being a cyber power. So now the countries, the big countries, global powers, they are proud if they are a cyber power rather than declaring themselves as a nuclear power. Unfortunately, Pakistan is no more in this index at the high ranking. For example, in this slide, the cyber power is US, and the second tier is Canada, Australia, Israel, and in the third layer, even our countries in the neighborhood, they are also existing, like Iran and India, but we are not there. That itself is a serious concern because a country who was is shining as a nuclear power. If it is not a cyber power, it is a matter of concern. So what happened? The threat actors, whether it is state sponsor or cyber criminals, they realize that gone are those days where they used to make their name very famous by just going and attacking a website and putting their flag that you have been defaced and we have taken over your website. The actual hacking or actual cyber attack actually talk about the hybrid cyber, we say cyber warfare. And this cyber warfare, most of the target is national infrastructure. So once we say national infrastructure, it includes smart grid, oil and gas, telecom services, chemical services, all globally, they come under the terminology of national infrastructure. And this type of national infrastructure is not only relying on IT. Most of the national infrastructure is relying on OT, which is operational technology. And of course, they also introduce OT cybersecurity related issues. So in this coming slide, we will talk about what exactly is happening about OT cybersecurity issues and what would be the potential solution at the national level. So as I mentioned earlier, yes, we used to talk about IT security related issues, mostly relevant to banking industry, talking about credit card, or let's say telecom industry, talking about CDR and data privacy issues. But in reality, the threat level has been elevated. And as per this graph, we took from IBM X-Force, they are clearly mentioning that manufacturing is top interest for cyber criminals. We thought it should be finance, but that is not the case. So manufacturing, energy, healthcare, they are actually a fair and quite big interest for these cyber criminals in which they are taking interest because they are understanding that these type of industry, due to the nature of their services, is too critical that no one even can afford their downtime for one day or couple of hours. One of the good example is nowadays you have seen that attacks on power grid is increasing. We have seen US is being targeted. We have seen Ukraine was targeted. We have seen India. Even in Pakistan, there are speculations like last time, 2 times it happened that there was a longer actually power outage. Some people say it is because of maintenance issues. Some people say it is maybe because of cyber attack. So let's assume if it is a threat which happened because of a cyber attack, so it means the threat can be materialized, and we'll have to think about all possible control to minimize the impact of this threat. The threat is existing globally. So it is never too late to think about this and plan well at the national level to secure our critical infrastructure. One of the very common risks which are applicable for this type of critical industry like chemical, electrical, and manufacturing is in front of you in this slide. And most of them, they are talking about someone can go and play the integrity of the plant. For example, the plant looks like it's running fine, but actually the overall dashboard in reality is something else what you people are seeing in front of your command and control center. And in that case, they can create actual disaster. Denial of service attack, denial of view, it means suddenly someone will feel that they don't have control. They can't see what exactly is the plant situation. So these are not subjective risks. This is happening globally, and we really need to pay attention. And one of the example I would like to discuss here is what happened in 1982, long time back. And it could be one of the first ever OT cybersecurity attack, although it was not confirmed by the victim, which in that case was Russia. What happened that Russia was in bad need of creating a gas pipeline from Russia to Europe. It was a big project, but because of the financial sanction, they were not able to get a specialized software which was meant for this type of gas pipeline. So using their hidden contacts, they were able to actually get the support from Canada. But however, US was able to compromise the software itself, which was made by Canada for this gas supply, for this gas pipeline. They were able to compromise with the help of a Trojan, which was introduced. So once this software came to Russia, it came under a compromised status. And during their testing of this gas pipeline, where they were checking the wall pressure, the speed, this software, which was having a Trojan, was able to introduce a malfunction actually behavior, which was leading towards uncontrolled pressure on the pipeline, and actually it was catalyst to develop a very big explosion throughout this pipeline. And this project was put in a disaster. Later on, they recovered this, but this is the classical example where actually like more than 40 years back, the OT cybersecurity incident happened using a Trojan. That is a very, very serious thing because this type of actually disaster was leading towards a national crisis for them because they were actually in big demand of this gas pipeline. Keeping all these type of incident in our neighborhood country, they have realized the importance of not only IT, but also OT cybersecurity. So one of my major concerns was, it is a good news that in our neighborhood, it is being realized. Like, if you look at this document I took from Qatar and say National Industrial Control System Security Standard. So the Qatar, they have already made specialized version to declare their OT cybersecurity standards in year 2013, 10 years back. Okay. So that's happening in our neighborhood. In UK, as of now, no such industry can go live unless they get certification from their regulator to check them against OT cybersecurity standards like IE 62443 to avoid any big surprise. So unfortunately, no matter in our neighborhood or in other side of the world, people are taking it very seriously. As of now in Pakistan, we just finished a couple of years back, finalizing the typical IT security policy. And of course, OT cybersecurity, still it is a new topic, and I don't know how many years we will take to understand its importance. But I think the time has come to learn from our neighborhood and pay attention for this type of standard to be declared. The problem here is the industry is living in illusion. They believe that there is so-called air gap, and with the blessing of air gap, the cyber criminals, they will be defeated and they will be not allowed to get inside our OT plants. However, in reality, in the name of, I will give an example, in the name of phishing attacks, no matter you have great air gap solution, but ultimately they are in the hand of plant engineers. And these engineers nowadays, you can't leave them without email. And through emails, through phishing, they can become a victim of such attack, and directly, indirectly, their machine, if compromised, or even their mobile, if compromised, can take them towards a OT cybersecurity compromise. And one of the example is like Iran nuclear plant, which was totally air gap, but actually they were able to compromise because of the USP, which was just sprayed there, and one of the contractor was able to bring this, and then the whole disaster started. What I want to say that time has come, we should all come out of this misconception, and I call it false sense of security, and we have to put actual cybersecurity, OT cybersecurity control across our complete ecosystem. Otherwise, what we are doing, even forget OT, for IT perspective, the whole industry in Pakistan, most of the time, they are just doing security for the sake of compliance. It's just like one tick out of many ticks under the compliance checklist. And so no matter, let's say that the compliance requirements say that you should have kind of gate. Yes, gate is there. You can see in this picture. But of course, in the right and left, someone determined can simply get inside. So are we really looking for this type of compliance checklist, or we are looking for the real control? And I think this is a serious topic, and it should be discussed beyond a compliance requirement. It should be followed religiously, where all possible control should remain intact without giving such obvious gaps. So OT cybersecurity perspective in Pakistan, although it could be applicable globally, but Pakistan perspective, the challenges or the issues in Pakistan is that we have a serious lack of trained cybersecurity professionals. We don't have even IT cybersecurity professionals. Now we're talking about a very specialized area. Investment in this area is also very limited, especially plant perspective, because they have a lot of capex and opex being spent for the maintenance of plant, but cybersecurity perspective, it is a new, I will say, area to be explored. A lot of vulnerabilities you will find by default because OT is not being handled like the way IT is being handled, where patches are being deployed on very continuous basis. You may expect even 2 decades old security patches due on OT infrastructure, again, under the blessing of air gap environment. But as I said, in the name of digital transformation, all such plants, they are being actually transformed. They are being connected with the outside world. So there is a fair chance now the hackers can actually get advantage of this open gateway and then can compromise. So these are like all foundation level security gap which require attention. Now, I would like to say that our regulator and ministry, they need to also wake up. The good example here is that NEPRA, as a regulator for energy sector, we highly acknowledge that they have introduced the first ever OT cybersecurity framework, which have been introduced, and it's talking about policies, awareness, monitoring, and continuous risk and vulnerability assessment process. And this is a great initiative. I think all others regulators, they need to understand and should inspire from this type of framework, because there are some industry which are still having no more requirement, like Ministry of Industry, Ministry of Commerce. Maybe it's a time for Ministry of IT also that please go and take the ownership of OT cybersecurity also, because eventually both are converged with each other, IT and OT, and there should be a standardized framework which should be applicable across different type of industry. If we will see the major requirement of a cybersecurity OT framework is that at the national level, where our ministry is talking about having a national cert, where actually different sectorial certs relevant to power, relevant to telecom industry or relevant to banking industry, they are being made. This 10 industry, I have taken them from a global study where the national cert, all these 10 industries should be covered. So we, at the national level right now, only paying attention to 3-4 type of industry. However, we will highly recommend that moving forward, the food and agricultural industry, the health services should be also part of this, so that also, you know, the OT cyber and the energy, of course, OT cyber security should be covered part of national cert, talking about other industry. I think energy is already part of that, but I'm talking about the rest of the sectorial cert, which should be also made. One thing is, like, once we talk about the cert, the OT, as I mentioned earlier, is totally different animal. It has specialized firewall, it has specialized, I will say, segmentation requirement. It has actually, we say, specialized equipment, like we call it data diodes, which due to the specialized nature of such technology, and due to the limitation of hardware, only one-way traffic can proceed and the two-way traffic is not possible. So no matter someone from the internet is trying to actually compromise the network, trying to come from outside network to inside network, they can be defeated because the traffic will not be possible due to the absence of such hardware, which is existing in the form of data diode. There is a concept of USB antivirus scanner, which should be placed across all command and control center of plant, so that any visitor, any maintenance engineer, if he's trying to bring some malware intentionally or unintentionally, it should be checked at the gate level, and then once allowed, it should be allowed to go inside to avoid what happened to Iranian nuclear plant. Because most of the attacks, as I mentioned earlier, it comes to in the form of industrial control viruses, and which can be avoided putting this type of control. One of the recommendation is that such all security control should be taken toward the bigger security operation center. So first, all organizations, big organizations, they should make their IT security operations center, and then should integrate with the OT security operations center to have a centralized IT/OT security operations center, which should give them alerts about not only IT security related issues, but also OT and plant related cybersecurity issues. My last slide is that how can we mitigate OT cybersecurity issues in Pakistan? So in summary, we need to prioritize IT cybersecurity at the policy level, at the regulator level. All applicable ministries, all applicable regulators, they need to wake up and start talking about this and give this to their relevant entities to go and follow accordingly. So proper investment is required, proper training is required. They need to create effective roadmap because there is no overnight magic. It could be 3 years roadmap starting from processes, training people, and then introducing products. So 3P, people, process, and product. The roadmap should be introduced to overall change the security health posture of our plants. And the last but not the most important thing is, as we are talking about national infrastructure, critical infrastructure, and so in that case, a great collaboration is required with government agencies, with international partners, and also with local stakeholders. Thank you so much. I wish you all the best. Take care.